So A'ja, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. This week's Employee Spotlight, we are spotlighting the Deputy Finance Director. Could you tell us a little bit about your responsibilities here with the City of Banning, and maybe a little bit just in terms of our residents so they could understand your life's journey and what led you to be here with the city?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And as the Deputy Finance Director, I'm over a few departments here. So the Finance Department, Procurement falls under that also. And in addition to that is Customer Service, which also includes the meter reading services. So all of the things that happen a little bit behind the scenes to make the city kind of go and turn, and things that we're doing for our residents, like when they come in and pay the utility bills, when we pay vendors, when capital projects are happening, we're keeping the budgets for those. And so how I got here, I did not wake up and want to be the finance director.
I always ask that question of everyone. Did you just wake up one day and say, oh, I want to be an accountant? Yeah.
No, I actually wanted to be an attorney, and I thought I wanted to be a child advocacy attorney or something with contract law or something. I had a mentorship with an attorney, and I did an internship. And then I thought, this might not be for me. At the same time, there was an advertisement with the local city that was saying, come and take tests to do a staff position. Usually at that time, it was tests. So when I went out to do the test, it was hundreds of people there. And I thought, probably won't turn into anything. But it did. So I got called back for interviews, ultimately got a job offer, and that's where my government career began with the city of Long Beach.
So now, in terms of your position here, I know, for instance, Lincoln Bogart just, not too long ago, presented a mid-year budget. What the heck is a mid-year budget? Could you tell us what a mid-year budget is, and why is it important for our residents and important for our community?
Yes. So the mid-year budget is essentially the 6-month mark of your annual budget. Here at the City of Banning, we do a biannual budget, which is a 2-year budget. So we also have a mid-cycle budget, which would be the half mark between the 2-year, and the mid-year is the half mark between a 1-year. So it's an opportunity for us to go back and revisit and say, are we where we should be? Do we need to
projected, right?
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Do we need to change some things around? Do we need to reallocate funds? Are we not spending here, then we are spending more here? It's just an opportunity to look back and see if we are where we're supposed to be.
Would you say it's like assessing priorities? So I guess we establish priorities ahead of time, right? And now we're given about 6 months and we're kind of reassessing. Are we on the right path?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Would you say, just in terms of where the city, we hear a lot about budgets and so on. How different is the private sector versus the public sector? How different is government in terms of what you do? And if you were to step across the line and do something in the private sector, are there differences?
I absolutely believe there are differences. We have a very strict fiduciary responsibility. We are responsible for others' funds. So for that reason, we have to kind of bring it to the residents and let them see, and to council to approve for things. I'm sure that in private sector there are boards, but it's in a different perspective. I think it's kind of different.
So A'ja, you mentioned something about utility billing, and I know I've been posting some things online, just kind of alerting our residents that there are a series of meter changes that are going on out there, electric meter changes. How does that kind of play into what you're kind of doing, I guess, in that respect?
So I think it's important to highlight that the utility billing oversees 12,000 water meters and 14,000 electric meters. They are having some challenges. However, we are putting so much time, and they're diligently working to replace all those meters. So hopefully that should be done fairly soon here.
So looking back, I know that the City of Banning has actually, the department that you're overseeing, has won some awards. It has won quite a few awards for quite a few years, actually.
Yes.
I think it's something to be really proud of. Could you tell us a little bit about some of the awards that have been won for the city, and what are the awards for exactly?
Yes. So for procurement, which we have won the excellence of procurement for 6 years, I think it's really commendable to the team because it takes a lot of effort. It's a very rigorous criteria award that you have to do, because you have to submit. It's almost like an ACFR, which is an annual financial reporting, where they have to, it's almost like a metrics, performance metrics. So they have to meet so many criteria for performance metrics. And they have to fill out an application, and they get so many points in every area. So you have to get so many points to get the award.
Different categories.
Correct.
And now you mentioned, you said another acronym here, and it's ACFR, is that correct?
Correct.
What is that exactly?
So that's the annual comprehensive financial reporting, and we've also won an award, the finance team has won an award with GFOA, which is the Government Finance Officers Association, for the excellence of financial reporting, which is essentially aligned with procurement. It is performance metrics you have to put in all your financial statements, everything that's happening throughout the year, we're compiling, and we put it all in one annual statement.
I think that's exciting, actually, in many ways, because it tells a story, doesn't it?
Yes.
I mean, it really tells the story from the financial aspect, transparency. It's really lending itself to letting our residents know that we are good stewards of their money, of their tax
Correct.
dollars. Would you say, in terms of what you're doing, the position, what are some of the biggest challenges that you think that you face for your department?
I guess managing the workload, because you're managing a few departments and a few things are moving all at once. But I think with time, that just becomes simpler. You just prioritize and put things in categories of like, okay, I need to get to this because this due date is this. I need to get to, you prioritize and you make things happen.
Now, did you say your department also handles utility billing?
Correct.
Okay, what do you do? So I'm from the outside and I want to pay my bill, right? And I come to the lobby area, is this little, so I'm interfacing with, of course, people on that end, but what happens if I have an issue with my utility bill? What do I do as a resident?
So you can talk to the customer service representative. If that person has not been able to resolve the issue, there's a customer service supervisor.
Okay.
And then beyond that, there's a customer service manager. If that does not get your issue resolved, then I'll come out and talk to you.
Aha, okay. Okay, then we call out the big dogs,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Would you think it's fair to say that, just in terms of the career field that you chose, how inspiring is that for women to enter that career? And are there, because I have to imagine, at a certain time, we live in a culture where men were going into certain fields and women were going to others. And that shift and that dynamic has definitely changed over the last 30, 40 years.
Yes.
Would you say it's improved the opportunities for young women to enter the career field in terms of what you're doing?
I think it has. Just in some of the associations that I'm in, they have actual women's organizations or women committees that you can go to and
fantastic.
for networking. So I think it's wonderful.
Mentors.
Correct.
Okay. And what would your advice be for a young person entering the work field, entry-level type of position, but maybe they're aspiring to do something like becoming a deputy director of finance someday?
Yes.
What would your advice be to them?
I would say to just make a plan and execute that plan. There are organizations out there that will give you background and information. That's kind of how I started. I don't think I really took the most traditional route to get here. When I would take classes through GFOA or CSMFO, there was like budgetary classes, like a boot camp. There's accounting 101s, there's accounting intermediate, there's accounting advanced. So I think that if you seek out that information, then you can get all the information you need to make your dream
So you
come
really
true.
feel like there's a lot of support groups that are out
Correct.
there.
Yes.
I think that's wonderful.
I do too.
Let's go back. You wanted to be an attorney at one time. You know, I actually was pre-law at USC before
Oh,
they scrapped
really?
that major many years ago. And I wanted to be a corporate attorney. And of course, at the time, you're looking at the various dynamics of it. But I applied to various law schools, and I had the opportunity to do that or to go into politics and communications, and I chose the latter. What was the deciding factor where you said, A'ja, I'm not certain if I'm going to be an attorney or if I'm going to go into this other field? What was that kind of dynamic?
Well, originally, what brought me to wanting to be an attorney is that I wanted to do the Peace Corps. So I wanted to do this thing that had something to do with like humanitarianism, some type of giving back, some type of dealing with children. So I looked at child advocacy law.
Okay.
So I felt like that would be a really nice area for me to go into. However, I did an internship in a criminal law environment, and I think that maybe that may have deterred me or not wanting me to go down that area. So it kind of just changed my plan.
Your perspective, your plan. And that does happen. I mean, oftentimes, as I said, I went straight into politics, communications, and I've kind of never looked back. But there are times that I would say, gosh, I wish I had a law degree to fall back on in that respect, right? But I think, nowadays there's so many different great avenues and opportunities for young people. And oftentimes I feel that, as we probably were when you're thrust on a college or university campus, you're kind of in the wilderness and you're trying to find your way through.
Right.
But it's wonderful when you can have professors and instructors and mentors and support organizations that kind of help guide the way.
Right.
What are some challenges that you think, looking forward now for the city of Banning, kind of an immediate or just a long term? What are some of the things that you're kind of currently tackling right now?
Well, I believe one of the things is like a double-edged sword because it's wonderful. The city is growing, which is wonderful. I think it's going to be keeping up the staff levels to the growth of the city.
Okay.
That might be some of the challenges because the workload becomes more. But I think that we are doing just fine. We're navigating through, and
You feel pretty
we'll get
positive and pretty
there. I
optimistic.
do. Yeah, I think it's going to work out just fine.
You did say you have an opportunity to interface, of course, with various departments. What does that look like? So from a resident's perspective, how do the departments kind of work I guess in tandem with each other, and how does that kind of funnel through to you?
We do a lot of meetings.
Okay.
A lot of teams.
That's usually where it starts, right?
A lot of meetings. I enjoy everyone that I work with. Everyone has something to add, so I think it's really important to make sure we have a meeting of the mind so that I can tap your brain for things and you can tap my brain for things and we come up with the best solution.
I think that's wonderful. It really is about teamwork.
It is.
There is a positive dynamic, I think, that exists here in the city, and I think, our motto, of course, being the city of endless opportunity, I think we're trying every day to make certain that we are good stewards, that there is transparency, that we're working in tandem with one another to make certain we are giving the best resources to our community, to our residents. That, of course, the electeds were elected to serve, and that we are here, in terms of just trying to make the wheels continue to turn. We talked a little bit about growth, and there are some fantastic things, I'm certain, on the horizon for the city. So as that expands, that's going to expand, of course, your oversight and some of the newer projects and various things that are coming through. Do you see that? You said staffing is kind of a challenge in some ways. So adding additional staffing, of course, will cure some of that. What are some of the other types of dynamics do you think that you need, or resources, just in terms of making certain that your department's the most effective?
I think I enjoy us going to trainings.
Okay.
There are always trainings that are available. So as we grow, we'll put more into our budgets about training. So that
the regulations and rules are always changing, I'm sure.
Always changing. Yeah. So we have to keep abreast. So that's really important.
Okay, that's wonderful. Any last words or advice for young people, as I said, entering the workforce? What would you say to them? And if you could look back on your life as a young lady and say, okay, this is what you need to be doing.
I would just say focus.
Yeah.
Make that plan, focus, and stick to the plan. There's going to be things that are going to throw you off course, but don't get frazzled by that. Keep on the path.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing I would say is just stay focused.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Well, A'ja, thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Your contributions to the city are definitely appreciated, and we thank you for your hard work and your
Thanks
dedication.
for having me. I appreciate
It's our
it.
pleasure. Thank you.